Progress.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Town of Pownal Select Board meeting, May 23rd, 2024, at 6:01 PM. The first announcement I'd like to make is we are having a little Wi-Fi difficulty tonight, so our Facebook Live may go in and out. And that was the delay in getting started. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board member roll call.
Angie Rowling.
Carl Strohmeyer.
Mike Gardner.
Jamie Percy. William Cottrell.
Can everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hold it, it's over there.
Approval of the agenda. And on the agenda, I need to add overweight permit applications. Let's put that, 13A. Please. And we need to remove updated policies, review and approvals. So the agenda will go as public comment, approval of minutes, warrants, signing of Vermont's 250th anniversary resolution, grants, village trust initiative intake participation approval, discussion and approval of Pownal Historical Society's History Center new signage, animal control officer open position discussion and future plan, discussion with Bennington County Sheriff's Department regarding current services offered and updates. We're going to add in the overweight permits after that. Public comment, executive contractual if needed, and adjourn.
So move with the changes.
Second.
Any more discussion? Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment, Hannah? No hands? Approval of minutes of May 9th, 2024, select board meetings.
Second.
Any discussion, changes, questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of May 16th, 2024, special select board remote meeting. That was at the rescue squad building.
So moved.
Second. Any questions, comments? I have one comment. I thought that was, for our initial remote meeting. I thought it went extremely well. I think it started the ball rolling, and I think it's going to accomplish what we're trying to do. When we get, once we get, going where we're going. We have, the rest of I think we're scheduled now through July 8th with some remote meetings, library, Pownal Fire Department, Pownal Valley Fire Department, not in this is not in the order they are. I'm just whipping them off the top of my head, right? Those are the other three that we have scheduled.
Yeah, and then the staff.
And the staff ice cream
social.
That's correct. Thank you for reminding me of that. I knew there was something else.
And I'm working on updating the calendar that's on the website now to include all of those, because it gets confusing with the list of.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much nicer.
I just gotta finish it. I haven't got finished.
I have a motion and I have a second on the minutes of May 16th. All those in favor?
Aye. Abstain.
Warrants. Accounts payable, May 17th, $27,704.04.
So move.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable, May 24th, $17,638.68.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Payroll, May 17th, $10,710.06.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Payroll, May 24th, $11,176.97.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And the next thing is our resolution, which you gave. I'm gonna read the Vermont 250th anniversary resolution. That we talked about with the Historical Society in our last meeting, last regular meeting. And this is what we've, if we approve it, we're gonna sign this. A resolution of the Town of Pownal, State of Vermont, supporting the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission. Whereas Vermont Governor Phil Scott signed an executive order to create the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission on December 15th, 2020 to plan, encourage, develop, coordinate, and promote observances and activities to be held in Vermont in commemoration of the historic events associated with the 250th anniversary of the 1776 signing of Declaration of Independence, the Revolutionary War between 1775 and 1777, the founding of Vermont in 1777, and the creation of the political foundations of the United States of America. Whereas the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission hopes to engage all 252 cities and towns through their many programs, projects, and events over the next several years, thereby inspiring future leaders and celebrating Vermonters' contributions to the nation over the last 250 years. Whereas by adoption of the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission, we hope to inspire Vermonters to learn from the history, legacy, and context of the past to build stronger communities for the future. Resolved, the Town of Pownal officially establishes a liaison or local committee made up of a diverse group of citizens or individual to work with the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission on any or all activities. The participant or participants of the Town of Pownal are voluntary roles and there will be no compensation for participation. Resolved, the Town of Pownal may provide funding for planning or implementation of 250th related commemorations in their community or region as available. Resolved, that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission. Adopted by the Select Board of the Town of Pownal, State of Vermont, this 23rd day of May, 2024. Anybody have any questions, comments on that? Oh, I think it's very well written, and I don't know, it makes me feel like we should all be wearing white wigs. It's time
A
to,
picture.
yeah. What's the board's pleasure? I think we already voted on this anyway, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody's comfortable with the way it's written?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm gonna sign.
We're gonna take 5 pictures. I'll take one of each of you signing. I don't know if she wants.
Come
I mean,
on.
other than that, you're gonna stand in the group and sign.
Excuse me.
We need more.
Yeah, more pen.
pictures on the website anyways.
So that's the same color ink.
Try it. Yeah, we should have had a feather pen too. Sorry, I'm a little disappointed.
Ink polish.
Sorry. Good no.
That's not.
White legs and a feather pen, we'd have been golden.
What about that one too?
Perfect, thank you. Okay. Grants, Village Trust Initiative Intake Participation Approval.
So I sent this all to you guys. It's the Village Trust Initiative. It's funding available to support community revitalization. Basically, it's just an intake form. It's really general information. And I was hoping to apply for us to possibly use funding to focus in the town green, Old Town Hall, whatever's decided for the future of that. And I would just fill it out generally to increase opportunities for socialization and to engage community engagement, or to increase community engagement. So that's what I would do, is just a generalized because BCRC has to finish their studies before we know exactly what we're doing. But I'm just seeking permission to apply. We might not even get into the initial round. It's due tomorrow, so.
Is there any match to the, if we do get it?
Yeah,
It doesn't go into a lot of detail about how the funding works. It just says that it provides funding for a community engagement, pre-development, technical assistant, consulting, contracted services, and substantial implementation funding. So the implementation funding is likely what we would need.
Mhm.
So, but I think it's a great opportunity that we should try to apply for.
A motion to have our executive assistant move forward.
Second.
Is there any more questions or discussion on that?
Nope.
And I just want to be clear that this is just, an application, we are not bound to do anything with it. You know, that comes up all the time with these grants. So that, you know, if we are awarded and it was a matching grant, like for your question, Jamie, and we didn't want to match, we don't have to take it.
Right.
So I just want to, you know, I just want everyone in the audience to be clear of that too. With that being said, if there's no more questions or comments, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye. That's a good deal.
Discussion and approval of the Pownal Historical Society's History Center new signage.
So I have been working with Joyce, and I think Alexandra Wheel from, the old Hopkins Place also helped design these. But my request is that they match our current town signage so that we can start sort of having this, general standard for our signage when we have trail systems or other places in town. So this is what it looks like. This one would be, they're requesting 39 by 30 to go down at the beginning of the driveway. But then they also have a smaller one, a 19 by 12 inch that will go next to their door or above their door so that people know which door is their entrance. So the color scheme will match the one that's out front.
That's gonna be green.
It's gonna match. It's gonna be the same, and I'll contact Lucy to ask her to basically make the signs.
Will the sign be lighted?
Probably not.
Just,
I mean, I guess it could be. I don't think that one's lit. Is it?
No,
no, I just would ask, that's all.
I mean, we could get those little solar lights for the,
If you're gonna do that, probably, but they're not gonna light it, that's fine. Ours up here isn't lighted. I just
we should.
thought I'd ask.
You know, that's a great question, Carl, and I'm kind of leaning towards the solar lights that point onto the sign.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, this time of year, obviously, we don't need it,
But during the winter we do.
but come November.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And Joyce, you know, if they have some nightly functions, it certainly would be nice to have a
Yep.
solar light pointing on their sign too. Great idea.
All righty.
Is the town paying for the signage?
I would like to, yes,
That's fine.
because I'm requiring them that they keep it this so uniform.
And I just wanted to
I think
make
it would be a nice way.
I think we should. I just.
part of the building, I think we should.
Yeah.
I just
All
wanted
be
to
the
make sure
same.
that it was.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion for the historical society signage. On the history center, and we purchased solar lighting for the regular, our town office sign as well as the historical society sign.
I make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along. Animal control officer, open position discussion and future plan.
So the position is still open. We had one interested person that didn't respond when I asked for more details, so I don't think they were still interested. The LCT says we do not have to have one, we can operate as is, but we should appoint someone to at least respond to calls. I reached out to Eddie right before the meeting to say, any chance you're interested in serving as our animal control, so I'll see what he says. Our constable, Eddie, our constable is who I was talking about. So we can go from there, but if you all could kind of decide who I should contact with animal control. We've only had one complaint since Leonard resigned that I'm aware of. So if you guys want to discuss how I should handle those calls until we get, and I'll repost the job, re-advertise, see if we can get more people interested.
Before we had an animal control officer, it always went to the state police, as far as I understand. Especially if it's a dog bite or something like that. I mean, then.
Well, that'll come back to us anyways.
Right, then the health officer gets involved, but the way I understand, it always was the state police. I don't know how anybody else.
I don't know how to handle that.
I think until we can get at least for the near future, until Eddie responds back to us for our next regular meeting. Try to go with the state police and see what they can do.
Yep.
They're gonna refuse and I'm sure, but let's try to go that route for now until Eddie gets back to us.
As far as I know, Bennington doesn't have an animal control officer.
They haven't had for quite a while.
I mean, it can be done, but
Bennington, the town?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
they do have one?
Yeah,
Okay. I just heard,
she's a dispatcher and also an animal control officer.
okay. So, yeah,
Let's just try that.
refer to
just
this,
for
to the state police,
Yes, please.
okay?
At least for the time being.
So I guess we'll just bring that up to the next regular if we don't. Okay.
Yeah, I'll advertise again
Mhm.
and see if I can get people to,
Okay.
if Eddie's not interested.
All right.
I'm really hoping he is.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, discussion with the Bennington County Sheriff's Department, we have, some representatives from the Sheriff's Department with us tonight. And we have Sheriff James Gully with us, and if you want to introduce Sheriff.
See,
I know who most of them are, but. Sir.
I know.
Where would you like me to stand?
Coming in, so you want to stand or?
You can stand or you can sit in one of the comfortable chairs. It's up to you.
First and foremost, thank you for inviting us to, and placing us on your agenda this evening.
Thank you for coming.
And secondly, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Sheriff James Gully, for those of us who have not formally met. This is Director Peter Urbanowitz. He's my Director of Administration, Lieutenant Roscoe Harrington. We all know Roscoe. Roscoe's the patrol commander. And we have Deputy Scott Legacy. And Deputy Legacy is also the primary Pownal patrol deputy. So what I'm going to do is, because Lieutenant Harrington and Deputy Legacy are the ones who are primarily focused on the town of Pownal, I'm going to step back. I'm going to let the two step up and or answer any questions. And if there's obviously any administrative questions that need to be answered, Director Banowitz and I will do our best to help.
I think that's great. I want to say that, I personally work with, Lieutenant Harrington and Deputy Legacy. They keep me well informed on things that are going on in Pownal. I want to get that out there first thing when we talk.
Can I just give a quick reminder that we should only discuss past or current contract and not anything future, because for the fairness of bidding, since we have the invite out to bid out.
But I do want to say that, you know, I work, they contact me quite regular, unfortunately. I'm not complaining that they contact me, I'm just, it's unfortunate that we have to have those contacts, I guess.
Well, it's not just the town. It's not just you.
Right.
Yeah, we have to touch base with
No,
all, yeah.
no, I understand. It's just, I'm saying, you know, I wish we didn't have to, not that I don't want to talk to them, but I wish we didn't have to talk on certain things, that's for sure.
You didn't have to talk about it when we talked.
No, that's right. No, that's right. We do some personal stuff once in a while too, so. I understand that, and I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that shit, so.
So I'll just run some stats for everybody. From 2/21/22 to 2/21/23, the Bennington County Sheriff Department responded to 376 incidents in the town of Pownal. It's all broken down by what kind of calls it was. From 2/21/23 to 2/21/24, we had a 30% increase in the number of incidents to 489. So I think that's just the more presence of us in the town, talking with your community, allowing them to tell us where the issues are. We get calls constantly, every week. Issues, whether it's ATVs, problems here, problems there. From people that we've met while we were out doing the job. And that's partly where the increase comes in from, is being able to talk to your community and have them tell us the problems, and we try to act and respond. Deputy Legacy fluctuates his schedule periodically to meet the demands of some complaints, whether it's Mason Hill. Mason Hill, where we've had a lot of complaints about motorcycle activity, particularly between the hours of 3 and 5. And Deputy Legacy has been taking on himself to make sure he's in those areas. Has you've had contact with the person, the complainant, and you've been back and forth with pictures and talking. Traffic stops are about the same as they've been, particularly with the outer streets. You'll see a lot of a Bennington cruiser a lot of times on Route 7. That's either myself doing government highway safety or Deputy Legacy, and because you have what do we average stop 400 cars a day traveling Route 7 through Pownal. We stretch out, as you can see on the sheets, Route 346, Farmers Pond, South Stream Road, Middle Pownal Road. The dirt roads are tough to get on. There's not a lot of traffic. They've improved. I'm just looking for any type of feedback from you as to what you hear, what you'd like to see different, or how you'd like us to improve our service to the community.
Actually, until I see the paperwork, yeah.
If I may add, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Chair.
The contract that we previously signed, there was the conversation of increasing a patrol presence, 15% increase on late night, weekends, evening hours. We've met that quota, plus the lieutenant has been really diligent about getting cruisers here outside of the weekday, 7 to 3 hour that you were previously receiving from the old administration. So, and coupled with the fact that we had to also reestablish our relationship with the Vermont State Police, because they are, as well as we are, the rural law enforcement in Bennington County. So we have had numerous sit down and or informal conversations with Lieutenant Coote, all of his command staff, as well as the troops. And we have found a very happy medium where if a call comes in and it is referenced in Pownal and it's not a 911 or a drastic emergency where they must quickly respond to, they hold it. Because they have confidence in us. And your residents have confidence in us. So Lieutenant Harrington and Deputy Legacy, they immediately, upon receiving the call or get notified by dispatch, whether it's State Police Dispatch or Windham County Dispatch, we immediately address the problem. So we are working collectively. We all know that people are short-staffed. We are not. We are full staff. We have 36 employees. So we are very confident in handling a lot of problems that are plaguing small towns, including Pownal. So
can I just ask a question about that? So when you go out to the complaint, that is taken out of our 30 hours, correct?
Correct.
Where if the state police took care of it, we could have you for that time, for that incident.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you guys allow ride-alongs?
We do allow ride-alongs, right now. We have a few individuals who have signed on to waivers, of course, allowing them to ride along with us. We are also establishing, an explorers program, which is similar to a law enforcement Scouts of America, where we are establishing 14, 19-year-old, between the ages of 14, 19, where they can get in a cruiser and ride along with us, coupled with, for instance, Southwest Tech. But to have an individual from the town, any town that we patrol, we have to do a background. Yes, have them sign off to a waiver and.
Okay. The other thing, I know on a daily basis, all the roads can't be covered.
Correct.
But is it possible to, towards either the beginning of the shift or end of shift, pick a random road just to drive up and not so much to sit to patrol, to sit like you're on a patrol for speeding and all that,
Sure.
but just for some presence. Yeah, right.
Presence of the cruiser out there.
Just, you know, if you're coming down 7, you pull up Fearless Crossing, go, you know, or any of the up in Brothers Pond or County Road, just to, and do a loop around. You know, that's,
Yes.
I mean, that's what, I'm hearing from people are saying, well, maybe if, you know, they drove by or even just parked in my driveway for 5 minutes or something. Other people might pay attention that are doing, may pick up on some illicit activity that's in their neighborhood or whatever.
So what roads were you saying?
That was one of them, yeah. There's a few others, but
There's what, 44 miles of dirt road in the
yeah,
town?
right. And that's why I say, I know it's unrealistic to expect you guys to be all over. I just randomly, just,
And during the winter time,
well, that,
when we had the few storms we had one bad windstorm that was in March.
yeah,
And then we had the big snow dump. We actually went out to each one of our towns, including Pownal, basically to do storm patrol.
Yeah.
Basically to reach out if Green Mountain Power was needed, if a road was closed. You know, I came after the big windstorm and Jackson Crossing Road was closed. There was a big tree down. The SP and dispatch up there had no idea that it happened. But when I talked to Joel, they're aware and they'd already made all the calls. And then best I could, I went through almost every road I could get my car on.
yeah. No,
just to look. And now that the weather is better and the roads are in better condition, you know, we'll be on any roads that you feel.
Just randomly, some during the shift or however you do it. We'll pick a area and.
Yes. We have also responded myself and other deputies that patrol in their towns have responded. Taken time from the town we were in to respond down to Pownal. Knowing that Vermont State Police with 3 troopers on, we're all tied up.
Right.
Whenever there's a big snowstorm, troopers are always on Route 9 because you have tractor trailers, cars stuck. So that's why when we have a storm coming, we try to be in our towns to provide that service or to help people who are stuck or car crashes. I was impressed with Pownal because I had no crashes in the last snowstorm at all in Pownal.
I got one.
I think one of the things that Jamie's alluding to, and I think it's probably, I know Deputy Legacy and I had this conversation about one of the mobile home parks in town. And it was a meeting that I went to and they complained about they haven't seen anybody in there. I spoke with Scott and it was taken care of, you know, pretty much immediately, really, you know, within a day or two of when, you know, so I think what Jamie's getting at is you know, you're patrolling over on South Stream Road somewhere, maybe you go over Cross Road and go up Maple Grove Road and just out Strohmeyer Road type thing, you know what I mean? I think that's what Jamie's getting at.
That's from my road today.
I'm sure, I'm
No,
just,
but that's, you know,
those are just examples that I was throwing out there, cause I know that, I know you do patrol. I've seen patrols on South Stream Road, I've seen them on Route 7, and I've seen them on 346, and obviously, you know, we don't have a bunch of dirt roads that come off Route 7, but
right,
you know, off the other two roads, there's quite a few.
yeah, they're dead ends, but as far as like a connector, find out, just driving around town, say South Stream, I can go out Sawmill, I'll come out by the Pownal Firehouse, come connect back on there. Just to
You
put
make
my eyes
it
on,
from Sawmill
yeah,
off the Colville Road?
Oh, yeah.
Right through?
yeah. Or you,
Oh, no, you go, right. You go from Pownal, you go from East Pownal Firehouse down through.
Yeah, last time I was over there, you took the new
Oh, I'm not
car.
saying that it's pretty road, but it's, you can get there.
I wouldn't take my.
Like, don't do that.
I know I took my pickup in two-wheel drive,
Well, here's my lament,
but
if I may.
just.
Sure.
Our lament is that if we're on the back roads, we get calls constantly and people complain because we're not patrolling and slowing the speed down on Route 7 in front of us.
No, and that's,
No, I understand.
And then and then it's my phone, and my phone goes up and it's
Yeah.
slow down, and then we spread that out. So what we try to do is, and there's a lot of stuff here that we add to the town of Pownal by putting a governor's highway safety grant, which we could be someplace else. Please, that must be noted.
Yeah.
So we are devoting extra time here. And number two, please know the fact, because we had the same conversation with the Sunderland Select Board. You can watch it online. Lieutenant Coote sat in the room, and Lieutenant Coote, of course, is not speaking up on behalf of us because he is only articulating his own laments in his own realities, but their office is short as well, right? So they may not be able to handle the calls that you want them to handle. Right. So where I'm going with this is that Bennington County Sheriff's Department, I am extremely proud as the sheriff in working collectively with the Vermont State Police. Also working collectively with Bennington PD, also collectively working with Manchester and Winhall. So we are really expanding and gravitating towards that collective law enforcement that was unfortunately siloed. And very limited information was sharing. So I would say respectfully, I'm very proud of my staff. They worked very hard in the last year, and we're looking forward to serving you still.
I was just using that as an example, that any side roads that would connect back to where you were.
I want to take questions. I don't want us to talk too much. I want to make sure you guys get a chance to talk, but I just want to say something off the base of what he said with the handling the complaints. You spoke about VSP handling dog. I won't get into too much sensitive information, but the state attorney's office, when we talk about the dogs that I handled down there, requested VSP to handle that and requested that when they selected an officer to have that officer contact the state attorney. And VSP contacted Fish and Game, and then Fish Game contacted us, and we stepped up and took that. And that was a lot that instant. I took 8 dogs from that camper, but we stepped up for that on the request of the state attorney's office.
Yeah, after.
So I got, that's kind of how it will, it gets handled this, since we have the contract that they requested, and because they're busy, and that's why VSP has Fish and Game, because that's the deal that they've worked out to help them out, because they're busy. And Fish and Game helped us, and they just came down and gave a hand, a physical hand, but that's where that whole dog incident came place from, a request from the state attorney's office.
Yeah, so it went from almost 3 weeks, and then when it was brought to our attention, within 48 hours, we are completely
I
done.
would say quicker. Well,
Probably
yeah, I wrote the search warrant with it for it. So.
And that's a question I'd like to raise to the board, if I may. And I think that this would probably be maybe a second conversation that we'll have. is that in this circumstance, I can recall this day where the state's attorney makes a mandated request. She's not, hey, if you think about it, she's almost ordering us to do this. Being that this is said, and I've also had the same conversation with the new town of Shaftesbury administrator. If we are exceeding the hours and we're ordered to do this, where do we find middle ground? Because if we're exceeding that 30 hours, that's why we stay in contact with you. Whereas we had an incident in a town close to Stamford where we had spent numerous hours, and they were in conversation with their select board chair. But yet with that, it exceeded their weekly rate. I mean, we're talking by triple, if not more. So that is where I am putting it back to you. If we are to work collectively together after July 1st of 2024, how do we handle that?
That's a conversation that's a three-way conversation, because that's also a conversation that has to be done with the state's attorney.
So,
Well, I don't think this conversation.
Oh, I agree with you.
So I think where Gene's coming from, if I can jump in here. Sure. I don't think it's just the state's attorney directing you guys. I think it's in general, some things happen that we don't have any control of. We're at our 30 hours, right? And it's not necessarily just, so it's not a three-way conversation, I guess, Carl. I don't think it's a conversation. It's a two-way conversation, because the third party is going to be really variable, in my opinion. Am I wrong?
Well, before we go, we're talking on the current contract, so that we're all clear. We're the current, so we're not talking anything to the future. I don't want to.
right. So for example, if we are patrolling and we reach 30 hours, or we're very close to 30 hours, we have a member in our drug task force execute a search warrant. We have to be there because this is our staff. We're now over the 30 hours. We will communicate with you, but now that bites into your overall budget.
And that's where I was going with that, right? It's not just the state's attorney.
Right.
That's directing you guys. There's other outside influences, right? For lack of a better term right now, that could jump that over the 30 hours. And that's another great example.
And I can't, but it's outside of my control in a way to say, no, we're not going to go. You're on your own, because now as a law enforcement officer, sworn law enforcement officer, I have the due diligence to respond.
Okay.
So
It's
It's hard to budget for.
Where is our budget right now?
We are way over budget right now.
We are over budget right now.
Yep, we're at 77,296. We budgeted 75, and that doesn't include 3 months of
and
this.
that's where I'm coming with this, is that when I get sued, because I didn't respond, I turn around and say, I'm sorry, but they're over budget.
No,
That's what we need.
it's a really tough, this is a really tough
Very. That's why I'm bringing this up now.
I know.
These are what we encourage.
I know. And this is an extremely tough
I think that,
We can,
situation.
contract negotiation type stuff, we should probably do an executive.
yeah, we should be doing this, and then I think we're at this point, yeah, so.
Yeah, so if you guys wanna discuss it more, even in this meeting is fine, just doing it.
Well, that's what the executive
A little bit.
contractual is.
Right.
Basically, that's why we put it on.
I'm dying over here. I'm about ready to pop. I don't know about anybody else.
We put that on there, James, specifically our executive on our agenda is specifically for this.
Please know, this is not a pitfall. I'm not trying to.
I don't.
These are things that I'm watching the canine issue. And now I'm stepping into this with other communities. It's not just Pownal.
No, I understand.
We appreciate.
Yes, so how are we going to work together with our partnerships and get through this?
You know.
And I think we can do that. I think that part of our discussion probably should go into that executive.
May I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
That we do the overweight permits and then we go into executive,
Unless there's any other public stuff.
unless there's any other, because if we do public comment, but we're bouncing on where on that, okay?
Oh, that's fine. If you guys are comfortable with that, then, you know, if you're comfortable with that, James and, Peter, right? I guess he's probably your director that would be in there on that.
Yeah. Again, I'm putting it to the board.
Okay,
I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yes.
okay, but I think that conversation is
I think
better
we should go
done.
into executive for that, so
Certainly.
what I'm gonna do is we'll move away from this discussion. I think you guys have done a great presentation.
Yeah.
Tonight,
Well,
which brings us into
before, is there anybody else that had any other question? I know we got deep into a lost
So
conversation.
I know some of you guys for years. Now, from my time doing ride-alongs, changed quite a bit. So is there any challenges that you guys see that we need to, was there any direction that you feel Pownal should head into? You know, I know you guys are doing outreach. I'm sure you probably do some educational stuff. You know, is there anything in particular that, you know, any challenges you see down here?
Well, to answer that question, there's things that like obviously that are out of the select board or the town's control. Like, for example, I spent an hour on the phone talking a week ago, 2 weeks ago, to the new property manager of Pownal Estates, and I was recommending attorneys to him to help handle an issue that they were having. I reached out to contacts landlords that I know, like big agencies, and asked them the attorneys that they handle. And I was recommending like, hey, you know, this issue, we can tack at it with a police type of thing, or we can just go at it at the head. And like, if this tenant isn't an issue anymore, then that's not a police being called there for, you know, dogs or stuff like that issues. Like, it's easier to go at it in that direction. And he agreed. And they unfortunately had attorneys out of New Hampshire, and it just seemed like that was having a hard time with the Vermont issue. So some issues are not always necessarily directly like the town. It's sometimes the organizations that are within the town that need to handle their part to help contribute.
The just hours and like everything else, manpower. If I'm either at the office or I'm out in another town and Deputy Legacy needs backup, I can probably get here faster than a trooper. And those are the things that keep me awake at night, is generally the safety of my deputies. You know, we are an army of one in a lot of the towns we patrol in. I mean, state police will come. Bennington PD back up Deputy Legacy up on arrest on South Stream Road. You know, I wasn't available, sheriff wasn't available. He was actually it was one of those days where he adjusted his hours by a couple of hours to be out later in the town. And my day had ended, and you know, so those are the things that keep me up are just worrying about the safety of my deputies.
But also, I'm trying to still learn, right? You know, I worked in Bennington PD for 9 years, and I worked in Winhall for that before that. So like, I'm still trying to learn what the area entirely issues are needed and where like to be at the right time and to do this, you know, because it's a big area, you know. I mean, I've lived in this area my whole life, but I haven't really driven around the side roads and everything. So I'm still trying to learn like what issues are needed in that area. And that's why I mean, if I had to be honest, like I try to open up my cell phone to everyone. I have my direct line on my business card, and I make sure that they understand that that's my cell phone, that they can text. And I try to do like 5 or 6 phone calls a day, and they're not documented or anything. And it's just me trying to understand what people want. And, you know, so it's not always a documented type of thing. And the issues I'm still learning what the issues are too in those areas. So
You're doing a little networking on your own.
yeah. And it's you know, just like simple things of somebody like texting me like, hey, do you know like this? I mean, we have an email chain with the guy, and I've received 70 something emails from him. That's
we
his
know who
own
it is.
thing. But you know, and I drove down when he was at work the other day and stopped in and tried to check in on him, you know, but there's some other issues there with that. that aren't needed to stay further. But yeah, I'm still trying to learn myself. So that's the best thing that I'm trying to do. And that's why I was really open to questions, yeah.
So the majority of your traffic is on Route 7. If you give a ticket, where does that revenue go?
I read it at 10:07.
Well,
So that's a local ordinance.
Yeah.
So the majority goes to.
even in the 50-mile-an-hour zone, we rate it under 1081B, which is a local basic rule, which allows more revenue towards the town versus the state.
It's
And then
40.
1007 in the
It's
40.
40 right there, so I read it in 10:07. So the majority goes to the town. So it's a local rule. And like he said, if it was over in front of Pownal View Barn, or it has a 1081B, which is the local basic rule. And it's only applicable to up to 50 miles per hour. Everything else can't be under that when it's 50. So yeah, we try to keep that in that. That's definitely been a thing that I came in and tried to make sure that we did 10:07 to 1081B so that the revenue.
Well, and also the fact that the state has also changed the way you towns receive your money. You know, that's our legislature, so those are the rules that have been implemented, but we do keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That is a conversation behind the scenes.
Is there any other questions?
Do you ever go down Center Street?
Center Street, I don't know all the names of the streets.
Right.
This is Center Street,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
straight through.
I was down there the other day looking at the playground. I drive down there.
No.
The other way.
Center Street, the other way.
Oh, yes.
The whole thing.
They come down Center Street, 50 to 60 miles an hour. There's motorcycles, there's four-wheelers.
You can pick every street. in-
I know, but it's
Right.
really bad
It goes
because
down.
they try to come that way fast. They don't even stop at the stop sign and they go whipping down through.
Deputy Legacy and I had a fun conversation today. I met him on 346. He'd already
I
had,
stopped 4 cars on 346 today and 1 on South Street.
and then we get down there, we're having our conversation, and you always get the people who say, people are flying by my house. What happened with us at Bennington PD happens in every town we go to. And
I do it
we
in my
are,
house.
yes, you.
I can bug you all the time.
We are driving a big billboard. And it takes one time turning the blue lights on to where the local people who are causing to say, hey, don't go here, sheriff's department's out. The out-of-state people and the travelers, they have no clue.
Facebook will say, oh my God, the sheriff's department's on Route 7.
So I think that's what
By the
happens.
school, be careful.
I've never received a call from anybody on Center Street.
That's because I'm very nice about
When I
it.
get a phone call,
Please call. Make
No,
that
let us
call.
know, let us
But
know.
no, because you're on 7, like during the school zone or whatever, they whip down Center Street to,
Go
To
around.
avoid us.
Yes.
okay?
That
Those
makes
are the ones who don't have registration, insurance card,
Absolutely, now.
license.
Now that you know, now I know, right? But like.
Whip down once in a while.
Like the school, without like, obviously, like, there's some things, like, we get forwarded emails from Lieutenant Coop, letting us know in Pownal, specifically, that's the one he tries to, at least that's what you share with me. And it's like, he's like, hey.
there's neighborhood watch groups that email us nightly. They send us texts
Yes,
daily,
constantly.
nightly. We are working on those, but whenever I receive a call on my phone, and I want everyone to know this, that when I receive that call, I immediately connect them with the individuals patrolling in their community. There is no lag.
No.
So I do provide them, I pay for a department, we have Verizon cell phones. They all have their department phone. I intend for my deputies to give them our department number, and I intend for them to have that communication. But I also ask my deputies to also have, you need to establish that personal space too, in the sense of at 11 o'clock at night, when a resident pings you, you have to have your own time as well.
Have 2 phones.
I wish they would have never invented the cell phone.
Somebody was calling right at night.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
your boss is right.
yeah, no, yeah, and I will try now my best to,
Just periodically.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, I feel, personally, it's a community thing. It's not up to the police officers to slow people down. It's a mentality. It needs to be the community stepping up saying you're driving too fast, you're being reckless. It's not up to just 2 officers out on patrol.
I can't
waits
tell you
till
how many
everything's
times,
fine.
I can't tell you how many times somebody's gone flying by my house over the years. And guess what? There was no police officer call. I pulled in their own driveway, okay, it's like, hey, you keep this up, we're gonna have a small problem.
Yeah, and like Mike said, like he contacted me about those areas and now every day I try to drive through in a random time in those areas that he asked me, so like.
And I've heard that, actually.
And also, it is contacting them and letting them know where things are happening.
Our
You
job is
can't
a
just
lot
mind
easier when our community is involved.
Yeah.
Back during the very first part of summer, I had a problem with a certain house. I had several neighbors who would text me, tell me, send me pictures of cars and everything. I was able to narrow down one vehicle. Followed it, it was heading towards New York. Talked to New York State Police. They said, if you're on a backcountry road by yourself, don't stop that car, it'll be a shootout. They crossed over New York State Police eventually got them, and
Well, it ended in a fight.
it ended in a fight with 4 or 5 New York State troopers and these 2 gentlemen. And that was, if it wasn't for people taking the time to send me pictures of cars, plates, people telling me what time and where. Stromeyer Road, one of your pull-offs up there.
They always,
Are they still?
what's that, up there doing the,
Yeah,
not on and off. My cousin, actually Ellen is right up there.
yeah.
She does a pretty good job of chasing them out from up above. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna go wherever. I mean, I could say things I would get in trouble for, but,
It's a tough, look, I don't think there's anybody sitting here that's gonna say that. I wish we could have. 60 to 80 hours a week patrol rate, I mean, or more, rate, full-time would be. 24/7, right? I mean, I don't think there's a board member sitting here, or anybody in this room that would say that's, but unfortunately, it's financially, it's impossible. So you have to come up, like James said, you gotta come up with that middle of the road where we can all lay our head on our pillow at night and say, we're doing the best we can,
Yeah, and.
right? All of us.
yeah,
Everybody, including the people, the residents of the town, right? I know as a board, we work hard to try to come up with that, and I know that you guys in the sheriff's department, your whole entire department has worked hard to try to come up with some sort of a happy medium. I think we go into executive and we talk about a couple other things, contractual, and I think that's the place for it. But I think overall, I think that the communication, between, the 2 officers that are down here all the time, I won't say they're the only 2 that are down here, but 95% of the time or more, the 2 that are patrolling down here, their communication with me has been really good, excellent. It's been excellent. And I want to make sure everyone knows that too.
Yeah, and I understand you're only one person on the select board, but I mean, he can share my info and with you guys and anytime, or I can give you my card and, it's like I reach out to him because if I don't know, I can't make it better, so that's my biggest thing.
But when there's something fairly significant that's about to happen or whatever, I, not necessarily know the location or whatever, but I know there's something significant that's gonna happen in town and, it's not, the communication's been really good as far as I go.
okay.
Anybody have anything else for?
Nothing for right this second.
Let's do the overweight permits then, and then we'll come back with the sheriff's department and all. And
If
executive.
you want to grab a couple comfy chairs, you can.
Those chairs.
Overweight permits. I have our Hewlett Trucking is a fleet permit. Miles Lumber. Doing business as Miles Fuels. This one's out of Arlington, which is a fleet permit. And I have Fabian Earth Moving out of West Rutland, that is a fleet permit. Declare.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment here?
No hands up?
No hands? I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session contractual with the sheriff's department.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Recording stopped.
Entertain a motion to come out of executive for contractual with the sheriff's department.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you everyone for attending tonight.